Welcome back to another episode of the Details Podcast. You guys, if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, I highly recommend you go to YouTube because we have the beautiful Isha Nicole on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for making time out of your busy schedule. If you guys don't know, she is the visionary of our time, a cover girl, a model, a creative. She is the creative force behind Boot Barn. She literally is one of the most imaginative and brilliant people I know, and I'm just so thankful to be able to talk to you and have other people get to hear you that maybe haven't before.
Well, thank you. And also thank you for designing this gorgeous space we're in.
My gosh, thank
I
you.
hope we get to talk about that.
We will for sure. And I usually do start with how we met, but I want to take it back a second into kind of your upbringing and how that shaped you as a creative individual.
Yeah, funny you say that. So I grew up in a family of doctors and lawyers, and I had this imaginative, creative brain. And I think my parents were genuinely worried, like, oh no, she's gonna be a starving artist forever. Like that was the energy.
Yeah.
And I think for the longest time I tried to fight that piece of my identity. But then once I realized if I actually just leaned in and I owned this as my reality, how much further I would get, because that's actually one of my God-given gifts is my imagination and my creativity. So why would I try and not be that in this life? So
for sure.
It's worked out thus far.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know.
No, you're doing wonderful.
We're still, we're figuring it out.
Are your parents more on board now that they see how wildly successful you are?
Yeah. And they were always, don't get me wrong, they were always on board. It was just more like you always worry about your kids.
Yes.
I'm not a mother, but I know you are, right? So like you worry about your kids and you want them to be successful in life. And if your entire existence success looks one way, when success is presented as something else, and within society, that's not necessarily
the norm.
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah.
So I think that fear was the positioning that we were coming from. It wasn't lack of faith.
Yes. It was more just protective parents. Like, I want the best for you, which is what every parent wants.
Totally
Makes sense. Okay. I have question cards in case I forget, so I'm going to look down. Okay. So you are such a powerhouse. You're known for being bold and confident. And that's actually one of the things I said to you a while ago when we were at dinner. I was like, I'm starting a podcast. This was a long time ago before I started. I was like, I would love to have you on because I feel like you could genuinely give a masterclass in confidence. So where do you think that confidence comes from? Was it your early years in ballet and traveling and living abroad and practicing such an intense art form? Or was it something that you kind of cultivated on your own?
That's an interesting question. I think it's part genetic. So my grandmother was fiercely confident.
Love.
This is probably not something you share with people, but she would do dances for people at the senior center into her 90s, and they were burlesque dances. Gosh. So she would start out with these big gowns, and then by the end she had like a little mini dress on, and I don't know what possessed her to think that was a good idea.
Yeah.
But I think she just like craved an opportunity to perform, and confidence was spewing from her pores. So I think I have a little bit of my grandmother's blood inside of me. So I think that's a piece of it.
For sure.
And then I think the other piece of it is I have always had a very independent spirit, and sometimes that's been a very good thing in my life, and other times it's set me up for some challenges. So, when I was 13, I moved to Germany by myself to pursue ballet.
Yeah.
And I think when you're forced to be, as a child, when you're forced to be so independent so quickly, you just realize that nobody's coming to save you.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have to figure this out. And so I sort of learned, although my parents were so loving and supportive, I learned that if I wanted something, I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that built my confidence. And the last piece I'll say about that is I also think I had this shift in my life in college where I decided I was no longer going to hold myself back. That if an opportunity presented itself, as long as it didn't go against my morals, I was going to default to yes. So I had this just shift in my life where I accepted the idea that failure is actually okay.
Yeah.
And I'd rather fail than not try and take a chance on myself. Like to hold myself back from opportunities,
Yeah.
that would be the biggest shame.
For
So
sure.
I think it's a accumulation of those things. My grandmother's natural confidence that somehow was passed to me.
Love.
We'll see what I'm doing in at the senior center in my old age. We'll find out on that one.
Oh my gosh.
Mixed with, my upbringing as a ballet dancer and
Mhm.
then this epiphany I had in college.
Yeah, what led to that epiphany? What circumstances led to that?
Well, I think when you're a ballet dancer, there's a huge focus on perfection.
Mm.
So when you are almost like conditioned to think, if I'm not perfect,
Mhm.
then I can't present myself to the world.
Mhm.
Like I'm going to wait until I'm perfect to show up as myself.
Oh,
When you condition yourself to be like that, just think about how tragic, right? Like
yeah.
how many missed opportunities in your life because you decided that you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
And I think I just got exhausted by that concept. I think by 20 years old, I was like, okay, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm genuinely exhausted.
Yeah.
Like I might just actually be okay being flawed.
Yes.
And maybe that's okay.
Well, and the fact that we are all human and
Right. We're all
literally
flawed.
none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
And trying to constantly achieve perfection is exhausting, which I also think a lot of creatives can struggle with this because
Yeah.
we are pursuing the perfect art and we want to put something beautiful out there that the world will love.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we could spend millions of years trying to perfect something and it could
Totally.
like even at our good, it could be someone else's best, like you were talking earlier, your God-given confidence, your God-given creativity. I feel like that's a really good piece of encouragement for other creatives is like, don't hold yourself to this high, impossible pedestal of perfection. Just keep putting out there, keep creating, and like be
Totally.
confident in who you are.
No, I think you're right. And I also think the other thing with that is you're in your life, you're the only person who gets to decide if you're good enough.
Mm,
Like if you show up every day, like your opinion of yourself is the only one that really matters.
true.
So, I think it's also just like level setting your expectations that like, you know what? I'm flawed, I'm human, and that's okay. And I might put something into the universe that maybe isn't a complete reflection of the vision I had,
Hmm.
but I would rather do that and take a chance on myself. And you just have
Yes.
to make that decision,
Rather do that than do nothing.
then do nothing.
Yeah.
And just how sad.
Yes. Well, and in the creative world, we have timelines, we have due dates, we have
Right.
deliverables. So it's
Right.
like we have to output a product at a certain time.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great, even if it's not perfect.
Yeah. I actually think perfection is something that is not relatable at all.
Agreed.
So I actually think if something looks flawed,
Hmm.
it's more interesting.
Oh, I
Yeah.
totally agree. That's why I'm, even in interiors, I'm really drawn to natural materials
Mhm.
because wood will have imperfections. Leathers can get scratched and have
Yeah.
imperfections. Stone can be irregularly cut rather than a mass produced plastic drywall, like
Yeah.
just sterile
Yeah.
interior.
Right. And it looks perfect, right? Like the lines are perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfectly uniform, but it's lacking soul. It's
Yes.
lacking something
It's
real. Yeah,
lifeless.
it's lifeless.
A
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned moving to Germany at
Mhm.
13. That makes me have so many questions. So many questions. How did you find the opportunity to move to Germany? But also, like, did it feel exhilarating, scary, a little bit of both? Like, what were the emotions that went along with that move?
Well, okay, so when I was 10, I started ping ponging between the East Coast and California.
Okay.
So living on the East Coast for a few months, then living in California for, 6 months. And then so kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
So I had some taste of independence starting at 10. So moving to a foreign country that I didn't know the language of, it should have processed in my mind as something that was scarier.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was sort of like, this is my passion in my life. This is what I want. And to
Hmm.
get what I want, because I wanted to be a professional ballet dancer, to get what I want, it meant moving to Germany. That was the next step in my career.
Yeah.
So it there wasn't really much thought behind fear
Hmm.
in the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy. I'm so happy I did it. And I'm so grateful that my parents allowed that, because I think
Yeah.
today's day and age, nobody would allow their kids to do that.
It's a scary thought for a parent.
Oh, it's a scary thought. But I think
Yeah.
in the early 2000s, times were different, you know?
Totally.
So my parents, it was my passion, is what I wanted. And
Yeah.
I presented moving to Russia to them a few years before that.
Mhm.
And so they were like, no. So Germany felt it was like
Safer.
safer. It was like
Yeah.
a bait and switch that I played on my parents. But anyhow, yeah. So how the opportunity presented itself is I won for my age category something called Youth America Grand Prix, which is like the ballet Olympics. Ballet doesn't have its own
Amazing.
Olympics.
Oh, sad.
I know.
It should.
I don't. We should petition for that.
Yes.
Um, so
Olympics.
so I won that, and because of that, I was presented the opportunity to move to Stuttgart and to train with the John Krenko Ballet School, which is part of the Stuttgart Ballet.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's incredible.
yeah.
Way to go. So did you live with the host family or did your mom move with you?
Oh no, I lived alone.
Okay.
I lived with other children. So
Okay.
it was international ballet school.
Cool.
So there were 12 little girls on my floor from all around, the world.
Yeah.
And I lived in a boarding school.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a wild experience. And I'm still friends with some of those
That's what I was
girls.
going to ask. Like, do you stay
Yeah.
in touch? Because I'm
Yeah.
sure that's such like a bonding experience to live abroad without your families, with other talented creatives doing
Yeah.
the art form you love. Like that
Yeah.
has to be like almost a form of camaraderie.
It is, totally. So yeah, one of my closest friends, her name was Lisa
Mhm.
Grishina. She's from Moscow.
Love. Oh, you
And
got your Russian friend?
I didn't move to Russia, but I got a Russian friend. So
Love this.
that's close enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we still stay in touch, and there's a few of them that I still stay in touch with.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, let's see. You have such a strong visual identity. Do you feel like, do you remember a time when you decided, like, hey, this is who I am, this is my strong visual identity, and this is how I want to present myself?
No. I think I I'm constantly changing.
Mm,
So the version of myself that I am today will not be the version you see of me 2 years from now.
love.
And so yeah, so this is who I am right now. This is what I like right now. This is what I'm visually attracted to. This is what I'm emotively connecting with. But that'll change.
Yeah.
And it has.
Yes. And that's really healthy, I think, for the human, for all of us humans, is to
Yeah.
change and grow and develop over time. I think
Yeah.
stagnation is actually, it can be like a soul killer.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to skip ahead because actually one of my questions at the end is talking about this. And so I'm going to skip ahead because this is like your answer plays perfectly into this. Like, for example, you are right now like the queen of Western retail, Western wear, Western fashion. And do you ever feel like people put you in a creative box rather than seeing like the strategy and the intention behind your decisions?
I don't have a good perception of how other people view me.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So yeah, I think you're going to be loved in your life and you're going to be hated, and
Yeah.
both of those are okay things
Mm,
as long as you authentically know who you are,
yeah.
and you're okay with yourself. I think that's okay. So no, I don't feel like I'm in a box because I don't have any awareness of if people have put me in some such box.
Yeah. No,
but-
that's a good point. For me, like, for example, I did a really minimalist spa.
Yeah.
And then people thought, oh, she does minimalism, you know?
Oh, that's her new thing.
Yeah. And then I did, worked with you. We did
Yeah.
Boot Barn, and they're like, oh, she does Western interiors. So
Yeah.
I think maybe it's more so in the interior design world. People will
Yeah.
see one of your clients' projects and think, oh, that's the style of interior design she does.
Yeah.
Because a lot of interior designers do one look and they kind of stamp it all around.
Right. That's valid.
Yeah. And so I didn't know if it was the same way in your world. If they're like,
Yeah.
oh, she's Western, she's always going to be Western. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I think Boot Barn's kind of a unique experience just because we have Boot Barn Work, which looks very different for that oil and gas customer construction than Wonder West, which is ladies fashion and highly imaginative. And so, I think because, and then Boot Barn is something entirely different within that.
Yeah.
The Boot Barges country is entirely different. And then we have Idlewind, and we have all these different lines. And so I don't know if necessarily I struggle with that, only because every 5 minutes I have to shift gears to an entirely different
Yeah,
aesthetic.
that's true.
But
That's true.
it's all within the country and Western lifestyle. It's
Yes.
all focused on the heartland.
Mhm.
So, and that consumer.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that is a part of my identity. And even if I were, working in just contemporary fashion, I think
Yeah.
that will always be a part of my identity, because for me, the values of the West is my North Star in how I
Mm.
want to live my life. So it's so intrinsically embedded in who I am as a person that I think visually that will always sort of come through. That'll be my Mickey Mouse throughout my entire life, I'm sure.
Love
Sort of
that.
Western touch.
Yeah. Okay, what style, industry, or aesthetic would people never expect from you, but you would love to take on?
Um, hmm. I don't know if there is something that, so the work that I'm drawn to
Mm.
is highly imaginative.
Yes.
And I get that with Wonder West. So
Mhm.
I do get to creatively show that. You know, if I had to say there's one sort of direction I'd like to go that maybe people didn't expect,
Yeah.
it would probably be like, something. I think Cartier is
Mm.
highly imaginative.
Yes.
I think Gucci is highly imaginative. So maybe these luxury brands
Yeah.
that have zero alignment to the Western space.
Yeah.
However, what I'm attracted to with these luxury brands is they're based in the same concept that I do here with Wonder West specifically, which is walk the line between fantasy and reality.
Yeah.
And that's the space I like to operate in.
Yeah, I love the Cartier as when they have the jaguar
Yeah.
walking next to the lady. I'm like, "Oh, I love that." I'm such a cat, like, big cat person, so I'm
Are
like,
you?
"That is just sexual." I love it. It's powerful. It's all the things.
That's funny. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned some really big luxury brands. You've mentioned what you've done here at Boot Barn. Growing up and even now, who are some of those big iconic brands or artists that influenced you and you're like, "Wow, they are so inspiring?"
Hmm. Um, there's certain photographers I have found super inspiring.
Yeah.
So Annie Leibovitz, for example, I think she does an immaculate job at creating a whole narrative that isn't literal.
Mm.
So, like, I remember she had this photograph of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian when they were together,
Mhm.
and there's a mirror. So she's taking a picture of them, taking a picture of themselves on an iPad, and there's a reflection of a mirror. And there's all of these elements to it that give you this sensation. And I'm not sure what exactly the intention was
Mhm.
now. This was, I saw this photograph, I don't know, 6 years ago.
Years ago.
But it it made me question in that moment, like, is this piece about vanity?
Mm.
Is because there's always this concept of like,
Perception?
perception and like a love for oneself as you're
Mm.
capturing your whole life on, in a digital format. And then it's also additionally being reflected back to you with this mirror. I'm
Yeah.
not sure the intention with the photograph, but I do remember in that moment feeling like, wow, like there's a whole conversation happening here. Is it perception? Is
Mhm.
it vanity? Is it a life in the spotlight, like where you literally cannot hide, like your
Mm.
life is constantly being reflected back to you in some capacity.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so yeah, she does a really great job at sparking those questions when you look at her photographs, that there's nothing in her work that is what it is. There's
Yeah.
always some depth there.
A deeper meaning,
A
a story.
Yep, yep. And also she does a fabulous job at creating fantasy. So she, has done amazing works based in around fairy tales.
Ooh,
Yeah,
fun.
so she's a fun one. There's some other artists as well, moving away from photographers. For example, there's a German choreographer from the 80s, 80s/90s. Her name was Pina Bausch.
Ooh.
And she did the same thing where, she'd create these highly conceptual works where you'd watch them and you're so emotively drawn to the piece,
Mm.
but you have to sit back and reflect and be like, okay, why am I drawn to this? Like she had this piece where it was in a glass house in a forest,
Mm.
and there's a woman in red and a man in a suit, and it's a dance piece.
Yeah.
He's consistently trying to walk away from her, and
Oh.
she's latching on to him, and he's physically dragging her into the space. And
Wow.
then he's trying to exit, and she grabs on again, and it's like she's holding on to this thing, and at the very end he runs out of the space.
Wow.
And the piece is called Love.
Mm.
And you watch it and you're like, "Oh wow, she's so desperate for his love, for his acceptance."
Yeah.
And he physically doesn't want to be in that space with her. He wants to break free.
Wow.
And it kind of like you question in that moment, like, what is love? Like, can you love someone and not have it be a two-way street? It sparks these questions. So anyhow, I like work like that. I like work from people who make you question the why behind the piece.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
That has a whole deeper narrative than what's just seen on surface level.
Right. Like commercial choices where it's like, this is pretty.
Mhm.
All this is pretty. I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm like, next.
It doesn't do it for you. It needs more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like ugly.
Stop.
I
All
do.
of your work is
No,
gorgeous.
no, I like ugly. I like creepy. I like scary. I like
Yeah.
anything but pretty. Pretty is like, yuck.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay. Which it's funny that you say like ugly or creepy because when we'll get to the project later, but when we were specifically designing the
Mhm.
third floor,
Yeah.
you were like, its theme is iron, which we'll get to that later. But you're like, I want it to be like sad, cold, wintry, depressing, and then we made it too depressing, and we had to like warm it up a
I'm
little.
like, much too sad.
Wow, you hit the nail on the head.
You really listened to me, and I don't like it.
Let's change gears. Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
funny. Okay, so from talking about all these incredible, inspiring people that kind of fed your need for deeper narratives.
Uh-huh.
Because you've done so many campaigns. Like you said, Boot Barn has these 4 arms and you work in all of them and they
Yeah.
all have different looks and styles. But do you have any campaign or fashion show that you're like, oh, that one was just so fun and it still is like a fond memory that you look back on today? I'm sure each and every one is so special to you.
Yeah.
But is there one you were just like, oh, that was so creative, so otherworldly, so whimsical or fun?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think I have 2 that pop into my head immediately.
Okay.
Although we shoot a campaign a week and I've been doing this for almost 10 years. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
But I have one from Wonder West called Finding Youth. And that one was actually about my first love. And yes, and it was so sweet. He was so wonderful. And it was about this idea that spaces hold memories.
Mm.
And so you see this girl go back to her childhood home and revisit the memories she once shared with this person, but he's no longer there.
Mm.
And so there's a certain sadness, and you're replaying this narrative, and you ask sort of like, but what if this happened instead? Would this reality change? Would
Yeah.
this be different? And it's actually it's kind of a sad piece in a way, but there's this like silver lining of like, it is exactly what it's supposed to be. And like, let the space hold that memory, and you can cherish that memory when you're there,
Mhm.
but you're not meant to be there anymore.
Not forever.
Not
Yeah.
forever. That was an intentional chapter. So
Yeah.
that one was very beautiful, and so that pops into my head.
I love that. Almost a little nostalgic too with like
Yeah.
looking back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Everything with all the creatives, there's always like a little piece of my heart in them,
Yeah.
a little piece of a story and a piece of my heart. So,
Yeah.
and then Boot Barn, the campaign that popped up into my head, we did this piece on Boot Barn's, there's a more grounded base in reality, and we really focus on highlighting real people doing amazing things within the West. So we did this piece, and it was just about these small communities, like amazing people doing big things within small communities.
Love.
Yes.
Yes.
And highlighting their story. And, there were a lot of different people we highlighted as part of that campaign. But two kind of stood out to me. Brant Lineman, who is a rancher out in Wyoming in Ten Sleep. And I don't remember the population of Ten Sleep, but it's hundreds.
Oh my gosh.
It's
How
not-
did you find him?
Gosh, I don't know. Everyone in the West is connected in some way, right? So
True.
it's like, I'm not sure originally how we found him, but somehow we found him through time. But
This tiny little town.
this tiny little
Love.
town, and he's a rancher, and he's upholding his family legacy. But because it's such a small community, you also have to wear a lot of hats. So
Yeah.
you're like the town firefighter.
Yes, volunteer firefighters.
Yes.
Shout out to you. Thank you for protecting us
Yeah.
all.
So, and he wore many hats, but it was just like being there in his home, and he has such warmth, and seeing the relationship he has with his family. It was just so magical in
Yeah.
a way. And I've had a lot of experiences like that through my time in the Western space. There's a lot of people who, I mean, they're just salt of the earth, the most amazing people I've ever met. So,
Yeah.
but Brant, his warmness really stands out to me. And then there was another man who I thought his story was pretty incredible, part of that same piece. And his name was Peter. And he, grew up on this family farm. And unfortunately, he had, some issues with I believe it was drugs. And he ended up getting incarcerated,
Okay.
and he lost his family farm
Wow.
in the process.
Devastating.
And so when he got out of jail, he went back to his family farm, and now there's, the land has not been maintained,
Oh.
and there's homeless, and, he had to basically rebuild this family farm. But his motivation behind all of that was to create a space to teach agriculture to trouble youth.
Oh,
So basically
love.
take his story, what has happened in his life,
Yeah.
and use that as a tool to help others.
Yeah, tool for good.
A tool for good.
Love.
So there's a lot of nuances to his story that are super unique, but I think there's this universal through line that I've experienced a lot through the West, where it's sort of like people are they're just bred different in the West. There is this cultural phenomenon of like, do what's right, not what's easy.
Yes, that's literally my desktop's background.
I
Like
love
that
that.
quote. That's
love that.
literally my background. I see every day.
Yeah, like do what's right, not what's easy.
Yes.
Help your neighbor.
Yes.
Like be honest. Like there's be loyal. Like there's
Yeah.
these elements that I think just come through, and it's a theme throughout the West that I've experienced that I really cherish.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I love all those stories, and that you remember all of those campaigns.
Yeah, of course.
Like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your journey here at Boot Barn.
Okay.
How has your vision taken the company to new heights? Because like you said, you've been here for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who is an investor can get online and see that Boot Barn's stock has gone up. They open so many stores a week. And I feel like with you being that marketing arm of Boot Barn, you've really changed some things up, and really like your red lipstick story. Like I've heard that one, you talk about that on Natalie and Tara's podcast, like I feel like you've done so many intentional things to push the brand, and it's grown the brand. Talk to us a little bit about that journey, because it's very impressive.
Thank you. Well, I'll first say that one of my mentors once told me that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go as a team.
Nice.
So none of this is possible without everyone involved.
Yeah.
So I think my journey with Boot Barn specifically it's actually been 9 years. I like to round it to 10.
Oh, yeah.
Because doesn't a decade seem more
Sounds
interesting?
so much
Yeah,
better.
so much, but 9
Yeah.
years is like random.
9 years and a day round
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
We're there.
Except for when it comes to my age.
Oh,
I'm still only 22.
yes.
Um,
Not a day over.
not a day over 16. Let's really go for it.
Right. Just got my driver's license.
Yeah. Actually, by the way, I love being in my 30s.
Yes.
And anyone who tells you your life ends at 30,
No, it starts.
so confused.
I had
You
a
are
mentor.
so confused.
Yeah. My mentor said no one will take you seriously in your profession until you turn 30.
Oh, I love your mentor.
And then, yeah, so I was always so excited to turn 30.
Yeah.
Like, literally, when I finally had my 30th birthday, I'm 34 now, about to turn 35.
Mhm.
And when I had my 30th birthday, I was like, yes, I made it. People are going to respect me. And, like, I don't know. I think you have some more years under your belt, some more experience.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, yeah, you know? So
Yeah.
I've loved the 30s.
No, I'm loving it. I would love it more if I were married with kids like you.
Oh,
but
it's exhausting now, but thank you.
yeah, I feel like I'm behind somehow. It's like
No.
career-wise, I'm so like, like I'm good. Like we're doing the thing. We're
Yeah.
gonna keep doing the thing. But
Yeah.
romantically, being in your 30s and being single, it's like you feel a pressure. So that's the
Oh.
only thing I don't like. Anyway,
Can
so
we talk about that?
yeah.
At all?
Yeah, what do you want to
Let's
know?
talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you find time to date with your extremely busy schedule? It has to be next to impossible.
It is really hard. And I'm actually walking this tightrope right now where it's sort of like we all only have a certain number of hours in a day.
Yes.
Right? So my choice at the end of the day is I have to figure out a way to carve out an hour to take care of myself
Yes.
and go to the gym. Or I could take that hour and I can give it to the possibility of finding someone, like of love, of that first date, of that, whatever.
Yeah, it's like an investment.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
So every time I put a quarter in the bucket of like potential love life, I'm taking a quarter out of taking care of myself.
Yes.
Like going to the gym, going to therapy.
Yes.
Going to church, like all the things we need to do to like mentally, physically, emotionally show up as ourselves every day.
Yeah.
So anyhow, yeah, so that's my love life. There are some really amazing guys out there. I think I'm in the wrong area because my values and the life I want to live doesn't necessarily align with the population that's here. I haven't given up yet.
Yeah, don't ever give up.
But like maybe.
Yeah.
Also,
if you could live alone and be totally content. This is what is impressive about you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this from my experience too.
Yeah.
When I got to the place, like I feel like when you're young, you're kind of searching. You're a little boy crazy in your young age, and then I got to this place where I was completely over it.
Right.
And I was like, honest to God, I'm not just saying this, but I was honestly like, I was at such a happy place, a content place in my life.
Yeah.
It's like, if I never find someone, I will be good. Like, God has blessed me. I love what I'm doing. I have great friends and family. And that's when God dropped my husband in my life out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the? And so when you came in earlier and you're like, you know what, if I find someone wonderful, if I'm single forever wonderful, I think that's the perfect place to be in, because you're not like that girl in the red dress who's just chasing, you're really happy with yourself, you're content.
Totally.
And if someone comes in and brings you up and adds to your life, perfect. Like we don't need to waste time on people who will subtract from our energy, right?
Totally. Well, I think that's a recent shift of mine too is, I've always been the girl who has a partner. And so much of my identity was built on being with someone. My wholeness was dependent.
I
know.
did not see that in
No
you.
one sees that in me. Because I actually have this like hopeless romantic soft side to me.
I could see the hopeless romantic.
Yeah, hopeless romantic soft side. And the only person who gets access to that is the person I'm dating. Otherwise, you experience, like with everyone, we experience different shades of them.
Yeah.
We don't see them in their entirety. And that's okay.
Yeah, that's natural.
That's natural.
Yeah.
So anyways, so I do have that side to me. And then my girlfriends, the last breakup I went through, they made a bet with me.
Oh, I love this.
Because
where's this going?
Because they know my natural tendency is to want to be in a relationship.
Okay.
And, there's only so much heartbreak you can take before your girlfriends are like, look,
Yeah.
we need a timeout.
Yes.
This is, we're exhausted. We can't hear anymore.
Yeah. We
You
can only
know?
support you so much.
Yeah.
We need a mental, physical break.
Yes. So they made a bet that
Okay.
I have to be single through October.
Okay.
So this has been,
You're almost there.
I'm almost there.
Yeah.
So like you can go on dates, you
Yes.
can meet new people,
Good.
you know, all of that is okay.
Yeah.
But you cannot be in a relationship until October. And their thought process is stop rushing into relationships, heal
Yeah.
your inner child, heal what's going on with you,
Yeah.
so that when you do find your person, you're showing up in a way that that person deserves and you deserve.
Oh, 100%. Going into a relationship from a healed spot is key. And then you don't
Mhm.
repeat
The
yourself
same mistakes.
and keep dating that same
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. And all the people have been great, but it's more like I need to be okay as me.
Yeah.
I need to be okay with the woman that I am today,
Yeah.
tomorrow, the next day. So anyhow, and I have a lot of growth to do. So
Don't we all?
yeah, we all do.
Yes.
So anyhow, so yeah, so that was the base of it. And what has happened in that process
Yeah.
is I have become very comfortable. This is this shift that has happened because
Okay.
of this.
Yeah.
I have become very comfortable with the idea that like I would love to find, you know, my person, or, you know, if that happens for me. But if that doesn't happen for me, I know how much love I have to give.
Yeah.
And I just need to redirect that love. So, like, for me, empowering young women specifically
Mm.
has become my new love language.
Love that. Yes.
So, so like, I want every young woman that, and it could be young man too, but I want everyone that I interact with, how I want them to feel is unstoppable.
Mm.
Like in the time that we share together, I
Yeah.
want them to feel like whoa, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, I am really strong and my goals aren't too lofty. And like so that has become kind of a new love language for me. So
Love
it's like I've
that.
redirected away from pouring into relationships that, you know, unfortunately haven't worked out,
Yeah.
and putting that love into people that want that mentorship, want that guidance, want that confidence, want that love.
Yeah.
And so that's the journey I'm on currently.
Such a beautiful
Yeah,
journey.
I really love it. And
Thank you
so
for sharing that like very vulnerable thing with us.
Yeah.
Because of all my questions today, I didn't do anything about romance or love life. I was
Yeah.
going to do much more creative and business, but I think that's very relatable because we've all experienced heartbreak and loss
Totally.
and growth, which is really what the
Yeah.
story is about here.
Yeah. Well, and I was having this conversation yesterday with someone where as long as you're with someone who's kind,
Mm.
being in a relationship is like someone holding up a mirror.
Yes.
And they're showing you in the kindest, most loving way possible, like, hey, do you see this?
Mhm.
Like, you might want to fix this.
Yeah.
And so every relationship that I've been in, I've been so lucky to be, you know, with these partners that held up these mirrors for me that have propelled me into the next chapter of who I am.
Yeah.
So the person I was with the last person I dated is not the person I am today.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Very good thing.
Because I'm gonna continue growing.
Yes.
And then the next person I'm with, I mean, I'm hoping that it's forever, but if it's not,
Yeah.
I'm gonna grow from that experience.
Yeah.
And like that's great. That's
Great.
a win.
It is a win. We should
Yeah.
all be growing. Again, we should never stay stagnant.
Yeah.
And hopefully, this is a huge thing too. Find someone you can both grow together.
Totally.
Right. And I think that's probably the hardest part is like, especially since you are on the go so much, finding
Mhm.
someone who's maybe also on the go or who understands that lifestyle and can
Totally.
grow alongside you.
Totally.
Yeah. And then, by the way,
Mhm.
because you said, you know, I am married and have a kid, you would be a wonderful mother one day. Like, truly,
Ah,
truly, I believe that.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, if it doesn't happen for me, like in terms of the traditional, like get married, have kids, all
Yeah.
of that, I'm still gonna have kids.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
Like I'll do
Love to hear this.
I mean, that's not my plan A.
Yeah, but it's possible.
But it's possible.
Anything is possible.
I would rather take my power back.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, I can only have this chapter, I can only be a mother if I fall in love, instead of giving my power to potential of this random person I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe I know him.
Yeah.
Maybe we know him. But I would rather take my power back and be like, no, I'm gonna be a mother.
Yeah.
I just might have to do it alone,
That is
and that's
fine.
okay.
Yeah, well, because also, I mean, if you do have a child with someone, you are literally connected to that person forever and ever and ever
Yeah.
through that child. And like you said, relationships hold a mirror up to you and you
Mhm.
can like see a lot more of yourself, especially flaws. I will say also having a child has never made me more aware of
Oh.
my own flaws because they the cute stuff, you'll be like, oh, they like the music I like, or they like the food I like, or
Yeah.
then you'll see they do things like, oh, my son is impatient like me, or, like you notice these things,
Yeah.
or a light sleeper like me, and even, deeper things. And you're like, wow, I
Mhm.
didn't realize that I did that, or I didn't realize that that was so obvious. But
Right.
it's like your little one literally is absorbing everything about you. And it's like the most blatant mirror ever.
What a gift.
Yes, it truly is. It
Yeah.
truly is. And that's why one of the reasons I'm trying to go more of my natural color.
Hmm.
When I was in middle school, and bless my mom's heart, she was a hairstylist. That was her thing.
Yeah.
And she just nonchalantly, said, "Do you know what? I think you would look so much better with some highlights." And I was like, as a little middle school girl, I interpreted it as, oh, I'd be more beautiful if my hair was blonder,
Yeah.
which was not my mother's intention. I
No.
know that,
Yeah.
but that's what I thought. So from middle school to like literally this year, I've been bleaching my hair
Right.
every single, I don't know, 6 weeks. And then we do have one son. We would love to have a second. Who knows if that will happen or not? But I was just thinking about it one day and I was like, what if we have a daughter and she sees like mom going and getting her hair dyed every 6 weeks? And what if her hair is my natural color? And she's like, oh,
Mm.
I'm not beautiful unless I do what mommy does. And then I was like, and then I was like, I
Mm.
need to love myself. Because I used to think my natural hair color was ugly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really need to love myself how I am so I can like truly and honestly present that to my children of like, you are beautiful and perfect the way you are. Because I truly think that of my son, and God
Yeah.
willing, if we ever have a daughter. And if she wants to color her hair, great. But I don't want her to ever think like, I have to be like mommy to be beautiful,
Right.
And
Right.
so that was like a huge self-reflection that just recently happened to me. And when I tried to go natural, my hair went black. I need to show you a picture. It like took the color too much and I freaked out.
It was like, thank God.
It was like, yeah, I like absorbed the color, and the hairstylist was like, oh my gosh,
No, that's funny. I feel
panic attack.
yeah.
But I feel like I've gotten to the natural and I'm okay with it, which is the most important thing, like what you're saying, being loving yourself the
Yeah.
most. And I feel like I'm getting to that place, but it is a journey, and I'm going to therapy and I'm doing all the things, but like it is a journey.
Right. It is. It
Yeah.
is. It's self-acceptance, self-love is a journey.
Yes,
Mhm.
100%. And that's one thing about you, which I mean, this is neither here nor there, but even in the interior design process, I loved that about you. You are a decisive queen.
Very decisive.
And that is an interior designer's dream, is to work with a decisive person, because a lot of people are wishy-washy. I don't know. Let me ask my sister, my neighbor, my mom, my best friend. And I'm like, gosh, no, please don't ask anyone. Just tell me your opinion. And
Like-
you knew, you're like, yes, yes, no, no, yes, 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 no, yes. And I'm like, thank God, praise the Lord, she's decisive.
I'm very decisive. That is true. I think like in terms of dating, to round that one out,
Yeah.
it's you can recognize, and this is with a lot of different facets of life.
Yeah.
You could recognize like, wow, you can see the beauty in this person and be like, oh my gosh, you are going to make the best husband one day. We're not compatible.
Yes.
I can see that I'm not going to be what you need.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be like, you're incredible.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, coming to terms with that of just like lack of compatibility doesn't mean there is anything wrong with you or the other person.
Yes.
Like it's just not a match. And that's okay.
100%. And I think it takes being in your 30s to know that.
Totally.
Because I think back to myself, young, early dating in my 20s. I got married at 26, but still, like, I was still so unaware
Yeah.
of, like, that type of forward thinking. Like, because, when you're young, you think, oh, we're attractive. We have some of the same core values.
Yeah.
But then, like, you're talking about true compatibility is on so many different other levels. And I don't think you actually think that through until your 30s. So if there is people out there who are dating in their 30s, I think that's when you know yourself the most, you know what you want the most, and you're able to like see that like, hey, you're a great person, but we might not be great together forever, and that's okay.
Totally. And I think in your 20s, you have this like, pick me, please love me. I can change. Like you have that. And I think changing is great and growth is great. But like you can't become a whole other person with every person just to make it work. Like you have to love yourself enough to be like, wait, no, this is actually what I need. And can this person show up for me in that capacity? And can I show up for them in the capacity that they need
Yes.
as well?
Yeah.
And
Give and take.
give and take. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the dating decisiveness,
Love.
interior design decisiveness, work decisiveness. Yeah, I think trust your first instinct. I think
Yeah.
I don't know why we've become scared of trusting our intuition. I don't know where that came from, but
Yeah.
I think it's a thing that we all deal with. And no, like you actually know. You know immediately. You can look at something and be like, that's gonna work or that's not gonna work.
Yes.
And so I think it's just truly just trusting your gut instinct and letting that answer, whatever that answer is, be your truth, and just understanding like you can change your mind.
Yes.
Like a pillow can change.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Yes.
If you decide 2 years from now that you actually don't like the color purple, guess what?
Yeah.
We'll change it.
Well, in the 2 years we worked together at the beginning, you were like, no pink, never, never, never. And then you entered into this pink era and then you were wearing these pink dresses.
know,
And I was like,
I
girl,
know.
I love this. This is
Well,
change.
Okay, let me tell you about that though,
Okay.
because I dated a guy and he brought me to like pink.
Okay.
Because he was really wonderful. When you're dating someone who lets you be in your feminine, holy smokes, now that's a game changer.
Yes. Because you and I I think, are both in our masculine a lot.
For work, you have to be.
For work.
Like to be a
Yes.
woman in a corporate environment,
Yes.
in a business world, you have to create some masculine attributes.
Yeah.
You have to be decisive. You have to be a leader. You have to embody these different things that are otherwise masculine.
Yes.
And but I think a really strong leader, actually, this is a side tangent, but I think a
Love
little
side tangent.
Wait, don't you love a
Yes.
good
This
side
is natural and great.
I think a good leader actually empowers the people that they're around and leads with kindness and understanding and vulnerability and empathy, and all of those things to me are they're not necessarily feminine, but if they had to lean one way, empathy,
Yes.
I would say that's a I hate that. That
It
shouldn't
should be
be gendered.
universal.
That
Let's
shouldn't
make
be
empathy
gendered.
universal again. Yeah.
I think it is, right?
Yeah, it has to be. It is.
But like I grew up with like my mother was so empathetic and so nurturing and so loving. And so I think I just identify that as like
That
a
makes sense.
motherly thing.
Yeah.
But yes, so that's a side tangent. Okay. Anyways, going back to so yeah, I dated a guy and he was so wonderful and he was in a lot of ways in his masculine,
Okay.
and that's what changed. All of a sudden I liked the color pink. I was a little smitten on that one.
Oh, sweet.
I know it didn't work out,
That's
unfortunately.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You were talking about being in our masculine and leading people because you do lead a giant team. You guys, I did the floor plan for her area. She has tons and tons of people working beneath her. And you said if you want to get somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to get there far, go with a team. She
Yes.
has a big team.
Yeah.
So my question is, you lead with such clarity and confidence. Did anyone teach you how to lead this way, or was it something you learned on your own along the journey?
Clarity and confidence. No.
Okay.
But I was a terrible leader when I started.
Really? How
Yes.
so?
I was mean.
Oh, like we are too direct. I can be too direct.
No, okay, yes. So what it was is I was a ballet dancer and most of my instructors were very strict.
Makes sense.
And you compartmentalized that how they treated you in ballet class was not a reflection of who they were as a person and how they viewed you as a person. It was truly just like, I care about you. I want you to get to the next level. This is what you need to do. Here are your corrections. And it was just very black and white. It wasn't an emotional teardown. It wasn't anything like that. It was just truly like, turn out your legs, leg behind your ear. What are you doing? It was just like, that was the energy.
Yes. I feel like architecture school was a very similar vibe. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I grew up with these very strict ballet teachers.
Okay.
And so my world when I started in, the workforce,
Yep.
I compartmentalize. So I'm like, as a person,
Yeah.
I care about you. I want you to do well in your life. I want to know about your weekend, all these things.
Mhm.
But when it comes to work, it's like, no,
We're here to
that
work.
like we're here to work.
Yes. Let's get this done. Let's be efficient.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And but I had to learn that you can't lead people like that.
Mm.
My one of the best leaders I've ever had in my life, he never told anyone how to do their job.
Oh.
He just said, "This is the vision."
Mm.
And then he let them figure it out because you never want to take away people's power. You
Yeah.
want to empower them. You want to build confidence in them. If
Yes.
you hire the right person,
Yeah.
you're looking at a graphic designer, for example, and
Yep.
you're like, they have all the skill sets that I need for this position. All you have to do as a leader is truly just build their confidence, empower them, find opportunities for them where they're really going to thrive, figure out how to challenge them,
Mm.
but do in a very like loving and constructive way.
Yeah.
And so I've been very fortunate at Boot Barn. I think I going back to the clarity and confidence. I think that piece it came natural to me, probably because of my grandmother.
Talked about her?
Yeah,
Yes.
I love her. I love her to pieces. But the piece that didn't come natural to me is actually leading with softness
Got it.
and loving people. And you loved them. I love them outside of work. I care about them outside of work.
Yes.
But bringing that into the workplace is actually a really positive thing.
Yeah.
So
That would be hard to learn too, especially if you had that past learned experience from ballet of
yeah.
black and white. And then I'm
Yeah.
sure it was like anything else, a learning curve.
It was a learning curve. So I wasn't the most popular girl. I was not.
No way.
No,
I could not believe
no, I
you.
was not well liked. But
Ah,
that's okay.
that's changed.
Well, I don't know if it's changed,
Oh,
but I'm definitely trying to love people through things.
love that.
And I think I have the most amazing team and they're all really talented.
Yeah.
And they're all very hungry and
That's important.
yeah, it is important. And I think my job as a leader is to, create clear vision, of course, but also to make sure that they're, whether it's at Boot Barn or beyond,
Yeah.
that they're developing and they're growing and that they feel challenged
Yeah.
in a very positive way.
And with challenges comes growth.
Absolutely.
And obviously, sometimes you'll be there to give the positive reinforcement and that feedback, but sometimes not everything's going to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
I also think you're a master at delivering redirection or correction in a very positive way. So, for example, if someone is working out there in a corporate job and they have people below them and they really didn't like the work or want something to be tweaked or edited, how would you give the feedback in a positive way to get them to do a different result?
So one tool that I learned is that you have to meet people like in art there's only perception of a reality. So you can look at something and it can be amazing, but not for this specific creative or this specific job. And I
Yeah.
think it's meeting people with the words of affirmation to start.
Yes.
So be like, wow, I love that you did X, Y, and Z. I don't think it's going to work here, but how about we save that for something else? Or what my old boss used to do, my mentor that I talk about, he used to just ask questions. He let the other person get to the answer. So, he'd be like, "Oh, wow, that's super cool. What do you think about if we did X, Y, and Z?" And then you let the other person give their feedback and maybe they have even some additional thoughts and it becomes really collaborative and they feel empowered and they feel heard
Yeah.
and they feel like their opinion matters because it does.
Yes.
Yes.
That is so beautiful. I need to learn all of those things and grow in that. But that was one amazing thing that I learned from you. Like, for example, I remember when we were looking at carpet selections. Carpet is so hard because there's not a lot of beautiful commercial carpets out there.
They're the space is that they're hideous. So you start with hideous.
Yeah, and we're like working our way up. But I remember like the first couple, you were like, well, I love all these options, but let's look for some more. Or I love these, but this one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Let's find more like this one. You know, this is the vibe.
Yeah.
And so even with that, I would every meeting I would leave with you, I'd be very reflective of what happened, what was said, and I was like, She has never, like, straight out said, "I hate this."
Yeah.
Like, "Find something else." You're very, very positive and kind, and it did leave me feeling like, "Okay, I know there are other options out there. Let me find something that she's gonna love."
Yeah. Well, thank you. I don't think I'm perfect though. I remember one time, and everybody makes fun of me for this experience. A graphic designer
'Kay.
put something together, and I thought they were kidding because it was so not the direction. Like, I genuinely thought they were kidding. This is before I went to leadership training, so keep in mind I've grown since then. I still have growth to do,
I need to go to
obviously.
leadership
It
training.
was super helpful.
Where is it? Sign me up.
HR made me do it. They were like, "You're the worst. We gotta figure this out."
Oh my
So anyways, yeah, so no, it was
god.
really helpful.
Wow.
And,
I thought it was a joke.
I thought she was kidding because it was so her personality is she was kind of like as a person, she was like a little bit of a rebel, like
Okay.
she liked to push my buttons. Like, so I genuinely thought she was joking.
Oh my god.
And I looked at it and I said, "Is this a joke?"
Mm. I can just imagine it.
No, honestly, like criminal. I cannot believe now knowing I literally cannot believe I said that, but now everybody makes fun of that version of me. I've grown since then, like, I don't lead like that anymore, but
Oh,
I genuinely thought she was kidding,
oh my
and so
gosh.
everyone now, like, will make fun of me and be like, "Is this a
Is
joke?"
this a joke? That
No.
is too
I know,
good.
it's not a proud moment for me, it's actually legitimate. I should be locked up. That was
No,
so rude. I
it's
cannot
very
believe.
human of you.
It was very human. You have to keep in mind at the same time,
Yeah.
I was getting like 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night for years. I
Yes.
was emotionally, mentally, and physically exhausted.
Yeah.
So, like, my fuse was too short. I
Yes.
wasn't taking care of myself, so I could not and there's no excuse for it, but I wasn't authentically showing up in a loving way for other
Yeah, well,
people.
this is the context. Context is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's like when I have a migraine, like the other day we went to Legoland with my son. I
yeah.
got a migraine and I was very just much like, where are we going next? Like, okay, are we staying here? Are we going next? Like, we need to
Like,
make a decision and like, are we leaving or are we
yeah.
going? Like,
Yeah.
I become very cut and dry when I'm in pain.
Right,
And like
exactly.
when you are in lack of sleep. And
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of that, I was talking to, I think, Katie Israel when we were doing the
Yes.
art selection.
Yeah.
And she was telling me you guys would be up to like 5 in the morning
Yes.
working on campaigns and then be back here at 8 a.m. before the
Yes.
staff grew. I'm like, wow, what a time.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were, I was very lucky, very fortunate,
Yes.
but we were given this, big company
Yeah.
to rebrand. And I literally had zero idea what I was doing. I was naturally creative,
Hmm.
but it's not like I went to school for creative direction. Even
What did you go to
marketing,
school for?
art and architecture.
Oh my gosh, that makes sense.
No,
Wait.
no, no, no. No, no, that was the program.
Oh,
But,
okay.
like, I focused on conceptual art. Like,
Okay.
I focused and in a way, a lot of that has to do with creative direction.
Yes.
So, in a way,
Yeah, it paid off.
it paid off.
Work.
But yes, anyways, yeah, so in rebranding, we were, they went from a creative agency. They let this creative agency go. They
Yes.
hire a 20-something-year-old girl that has zero experience, but I'm so fortunate that my boss at the time saw potential in me, took
Yeah.
a chance on me,
Yeah.
and, Katie wasn't even on my team. I just was so desperate for help. I'm, like, recruiting anybody.
So kind of her.
So kind of her. But yeah, so no, we had to kind of figure it out and do it on our own. But I don't know if Planoly didn't exist back then.
Yeah, that's fairly new.
Yeah, I have no idea,
Okay.
or if we were just technologically disadvantaged or something. But we used to have to cut out construction paper images of what image options we had, and we would physically build social grids.
I love
No, I'm
this.
pretty sure Planoly or like the
Yeah.
apps existed at the time. We just didn't know any better because
Yeah.
we weren't social media guru.
Experts,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we're still not.
Yeah, we're all and it changes every day.
And it changes all the
Yeah.
time. And I was just trying to keep the thing afloat. And I'm
Yes.
like
Does
whatever
this
you
look
need,
good?
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, we would do that and come up with campaigns and the next email and the next catalog and whatever till 3, 4, 5 a.m. Sometimes, and then just have to be back at the office the next day. And
Yeah.
I did that for years. So anyways, you can imagine my fuse was short.
Understandably so.
But
Yeah.
we're better now.
Yes, we're better now.
Yeah, we're better now.
We're grown. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the space. The reason why we're all here today. Okay. Let's talk about briefly how we met. Very, very briefly. I'll let you take it away.
So Tara and I started following each other on Instagram,
Mhm.
and I would post if I were somewhere and, there was something beautiful interior design wise.
Yes.
And she would always be the ones like swiping up and commenting and, shooting me a DM of like, I love that tile. It's by this designer. Let me share it with you. And anyways, so I noticed throughout the years that we had very similar aesthetics.
Mhm.
And I was tasked on a Tuesday to design our corporate office.
Mm.
I'm not a designer. Like I'm a creative. I can
Yes.
come up with concepts. I can create a vision.
You know what you like.
I know what I like.
Yes.
But I don't know all the nuances of interior design. I don't know where to go to get,
To source the things you like.
the
Yeah.
things, whatever. And so that was my task on a Tuesday. And you have to keep in mind, like the way that this environment is it's very fast paced.
Oh, incredibly.
So like that's my 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, but my 1 o'clock is X, Y, and Z campaign. My 2 o'clock is a radio interview. My 3 o'clock is that, like, you're constantly ping ponging. So it's not like I had this dedicated time to be like, now for the next 2 years, this is my focus. Like, no, for the next hour, this is my focus.
Literally.
But I immediately thought of Tara and I was like, I have the perfect person that can do this. And I called her up and I'm like, can you get here tomorrow?
Well, originally you were like, "Hey, we have a potential job opportunity for you. Can we fly you in today?" And I had client meetings that afternoon on a Tuesday, and I was like, "Well," I remember like it was yesterday. I was like, "Well, I have some client meetings this evening that I can't cancel, but I have an in-house workday all day Wednesday, so technically I could fly out first thing tomorrow."
Yes.
And you're like, "Great, my assistant will email you your itinerary." I was like, "Okay, we're doing this."
And and Tara shows up with a suitcase. I had briefly, shared with her kind of what I liked and what the vision was.
Yeah, I sent you the intake form on our website.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And she shows up with a suitcase.
A little carry-on.
Yes, filled with materials. It was tile examples, carpet examples, color, swatches, all the different things.
Wallpapers, stones,
yes,
mirrors,
yes,
tassels, all of the things.
all of the things. And we visit the space.
Mhm.
And she opens up her suitcase, and we're at lunch at like this little cafe in our building.
Yep.
And she opens up her suitcase and she lays it all out. And we literally, for an hour go, love that, not that. Like, and we just sorted it.
Yeah.
And then she took that as her basically inspiration to then start the process.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys are obviously in California.
Mhm.
You have your pick of tons of mega firms that
Mhm.
do offices all day, every day.
Mhm.
What made you not go that route and decide to trust this tiny design firm from the middle of Nebraska?
Well, for me, it's about when you have to train someone on your vision,
Mm,
it takes time.
yeah.
And there's a lack of efficiency with that.
Yeah.
So although I didn't know you super well, I knew that we shared similar tastes
Yeah.
and that getting to a vision together quickly was going to be possible.
Totally.
And then once I jumped on the phone with you, that was our first time speaking on the phone.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay, well, she's warm. She's competent. She has a yes mindset. That's another thing that I look for. I look for people that figure out a way to solve for yes.
Yeah.
So, there's certain things, nuances with you that I thought, okay, this is going to be a good fit on an emotional level as well for a working relationship.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a chance in a way, but I'm so happy because obviously you've done an incredible job,
Thank you.
and we did it in a really efficient way.
Extremely.
Yes, and ahead of schedule, which
Yes.
doesn't happen.
Never. We cut 7 weeks off design. Designing this was like writing a bullet, literally,
Yeah.
but it worked.
But it worked, and they had set me up with several interior design companies or architecture firms that had interior design programs.
Yeah.
Or people, I guess.
Yeah,
In-house team, and this is before I called you.
Yeah.
And I just knew immediately. I was like, this is gonna be like splitting hairs.
Mm.
Like, we're gonna be in the minutia of things just to get them to see what I see.
Yeah.
And they also don't understand the lifestyle.
Mhm.
So, like, when you have to train someone on the lifestyle
Yeah.
and also train them on your vision, that's a lot of work before you even start the project.
For sure.
So for me, I was like, I don't have the time or the emotional capacity to
No.
take that on.
No.
Yeah, so I think the first, not to bash anyone, of course, but I think the first take from the architecture group, interior design team within the architecture group, they went like my worst nightmare Western, which is like to go literal with things.
Oh.
Yeah, have you ever been to like
It's like kitschy.
kitschy? Like,
Mhm.
have you ever been to like a cowboy
Themed birthday party?
themed birthday party
Yes.
from somebody who's not part of the
The
lifestyle?
Western culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
And their interpretation of Western.
How they view it through their lens.
Oh boy.
Yes.
So it was like that. It was like yeehaws were everywhere.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. There's like hay bales galore. I'm like, oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
So I just knew at that moment, I'm like,
Yeah.
who could do this and who gets it and shares the same vision and understands the lifestyle is Tara.
Thank you.
Yep.
And background context, after you filled out the intake form on our website, you gave me the 2 sentences that I will never forget. Ladies and gentlemen, she said, I want it to look like a modern Montana lodge at dusk, but make it gothic, sexy cowgirl.
Yes.
And you gave me the floor plans. I memorized all 120,000 square feet before we came. And then I spent literally all night. I opened up every cabinet and every drawer in my materials library. And I just started pulling anything, like you said, carpet, tile, paint, wallpaper, anything that felt like that. And I laid it out all over my studio floor and I just narrowed it down until I could fit it in a carry-on. And every time I go to the airport with materials, they can't see through countertop samples, like marble, quartz, granite. And so they always take my bag and have to like search it all because they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
They think I'm hiding something. And I'm like, every time I'm like, it's countertop samples, just so you know. They still have to go through the whole thing, but I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I figured rather than come out empty-handed and just be like, pick me, like based off of my words, I was like, I'm going to at least try to do something.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to pull something together. And that way I could get a filter from you of like a quick check of what she likes, what she doesn't like physically, rather than just swiping images online, which anyone can swipe images online, but holding and feeling textures and colors and material, I think is just so important because that's how the space is going to feel eventually.
Absolutely.
And that's when I knew right away. I was like, she is a decisive lady and we love a decisive lady. I mean, if you're ever going to work with an interior designer, they love if you're decisive. So that was, I think, a great match from the beginning. It was like you knew what you liked and I knew what you were looking for and I could bring options to the table and see what you were loving.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so what is my next question here? Okay, what surprised you in a good way with working with such a small out-of-state project on a job of this scale?
I think at Boot Barn, we're very agile. Even though we're a larger company, it still has an element to it that feels like the mom and pop shop around the corner.
Yeah.
It has a family business kind of element. So there is a humility with that. But also everyone is very smart and very talented and very agile and very quick to want to change and adapt and grow and move.
Yeah.
And sometimes the larger the company you work with or for, the less agile. Because it's hard to get hundreds of people to move in the same direction.
Yes.
It's easier to get 3 people.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So our firm was the perfect size.
So, so for me, I actually prefer, when we partner with outside vendors, whether it's interior design
Mhm.
or, anything really.
Yeah.
I want a real connection with the person.
Mhm.
I want to work with the person
Yep.
that's going to be doing the project with me.
Yeah.
Um, I I want to know that, they have that yes mindset like we talked about.
Yep.
Like those things are really important. So for me, it's my preference is actually working with small businesses
Love.
over big companies.
Yeah.
Because I think one, the principle of supporting local businesses and small companies is important.
Yeah.
And two, it's more just about efficiency and real human connection.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
That makes total sense. And we cranked it out. We did it so fast, which is my next question. 2 years is a long time to stay creatively aligned. What made our collaboration work so well across that time?
Um, I think that's a good question for you, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you said at the beginning was like we understood the same aesthetic. You didn't have to teach me the aesthetic was
Yeah.
huge. And then also what you said was, and you said this in another interview too, because I think Western fashion is so trendy right now. That doesn't mean everyone understands the Western lifestyle, and that for hundreds, if not millions of Americans, it's not a trend, it's a way of life.
Correct.
And I think since I grew up in Nebraska, archery hunting, fishing with my dad, going to small honky tonks and dirt racetracks. Like I wasn't only just seeing it on TV, but I had lived it.
Mm.
And so I think I could connect with your end user and then through that and then researching obviously the brand standards you sent me and really researching all of the campaigns you did. I feel like I was really able to understand holistically what you're wanting, and then the task was just how do we apply that to a commercial setting with commercial building codes, right?
Right.
In a way that has the look, but also will pass inspection and
Totally.
fire safety codes and ADA accessibility
All the
codes and
things.
all of those things so that it's
Mhm.
legal and it looks good, right? Because we don't want
Yes.
any fines. So it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. You said
Oh,
it perfectly.
okay. Some of these are kind of repetitive. You've done a great job of like hitting everything I wanted to ask. So, here's a fun one. What's one thing or space here, big or small, that you still find yourself loving every time you see it?
That's a good question.
So many fun
I
things.
know. Well, I think 2 moments stand out to me. There's a lot of different elements that I love, but I love the horse running mural when you first walk in on the floor,
Yes. Do you
the
remember when I
mosaic.
texted you the fish pic?
Yes, of course, I loved it.
I
Yeah.
at a first meeting when you told me that running horses was one of your brand imageries, I was like, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but later I'm gonna text you a picture of a fish mosaic on a bathroom floor.
It was gorgeous.
I was like, this, but imagine it as
Yeah.
running horses and not in a bathroom, but an
Yes.
entry.
Yeah. And it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's one of my favorite things when you first walk in the front entrance.
It takes your breath away.
It really does. So with that and then our waterfall, the,
Yes.
I think conceptually as well as visually. So
Yes.
conceptually, it connects all 4 floors.
Mhm.
It creates this visual of unity. There's also, from a backstory piece, we were met with so many no's,
So many.
but we solved for yes, and we
Yes.
found a company that wanted to solve for yes,
Yes.
and it functionally works, and it makes sense, and it's not mildewed hazard and all of the things we were told.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
mold, a black mold
Yeah,
hazard. I don't know.
Legionnaire's disease is like a type of aspiration that causes like lesions in the lungs or something. I don't know. And obviously rust and mold. And yeah, we avoided all of that.
Yeah, so we solved for yes in a way that was functional and
And that was
safe.
your dream from the absolute jump. You were like, we have to have a waterfall.
Yeah.
Make it happen. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll make this happen. But you're right. Like I had so many phone calls, so many emails out to tons of companies. Like I started with way more, narrowed it down to 13. And some of them were still telling me no.
Yeah.
And I was like, it can be done. There's in interior design, there's 3 things. There's time, money, and creativity. It's the triangle. And everyone always says pick 2.
Yeah.
Like you can do it like fast and cheap, or you can do it fast and creative, but then it will be expensive. Like everything is to the expense of one of the others. So if it's fast and cheap, it won't be good quality, you know? So I think we found the perfect balance to get you your dream waterfall. And shout out to the people at Blue World, because they're the people who thought outside the box and really
solved for yes.
Yes, they solved for yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it looks stunning, and it's not loud.
No, it's so beautiful.
It's
I love it
tranquil.
so much. I just wanted a waterfall.
And she got it. Yeah, not only was it them who said no, there were so many people along the way that said no, and so many different things we had to do for code, for fire dampening, to have an open shaft. And we went a couple of rounds with the city and the inspectors, but we finally got it and did these little tweaks to where they said yes.
We love that.
It just takes time. That's all it takes, is just time and thinking outside the box.
And also persistent.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you genuinely believe in something enough, if people keep telling you no, all that means is you're asking the wrong people.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that.
Which makes me sound awful, but
no, it is true. And I heard a story one time, and I don't know the exact make or model of the vehicle, but let's just say it was like a Scout International or something. It's one of my favorite vehicles. But it was a story of a dad talking to his son. And I mean, no one would ever sell a Scout International, but just for the sake of the story, because I don't remember the original car, that he was like, okay, it's time for you to sell your car. We got to get a different one. Go try to sell it. And so he went to the first person, and he's like, Dad, this person offered me like $1,500. And the dad was like, okay, ask someone else. Went to someone else and was like, Dad, this person offered me $2,700. He's like, okay, ask someone else. Went to the third person, offered him $65,000, because that person knew what the vehicle was worth.
right.
So it's not a bad thing to say that, it's like the people who understand, maybe those first two takers didn't know what a gem of a vehicle it was.
Yeah.
And so they offered what they were aware of.
Right.
They're just like, oh, it's another vehicle. It gets you from point A to point B, where maybe the third person was a collector and knew how unique and valuable it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the waterfall held value, intrinsic value.
Yes.
It needed to be done.
For sure. It had to be done. It is done. Consider it done.
Yeah.
Okay. Question. And I've really been wondering this. Has the new headquarters changed the energy of the company culture at all?
Yes, of course. Yeah. I think before we were in a space that didn't at all feel like the brand. So,
Gray box.
Gray box. And so I think there is an excitement and an energy around being in a space that you are experiencing the brand every single day as you make decisions for the betterment of the brand and business.
Yes.
So I think it's super positive.
Good, good. Okay. That makes my heart so happy, because I just wanted each person to come in the door. Like, you guys already have crushed it with your brand. You have amazing campaigns, beautiful fashion shows, like a stunning digital presence. I wanted every person to come to this door to feel like they were literally just like hopping into one of your campaign shoes or hopping into one of your brand shoes. And so authenticity was my main goal. And so to hear that it does feel in alignment and that people are inspired by it literally just gives me like the happy stomach butterflies.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think like everybody spends so much of their life dedicated to their career. Their time is dedicated to their business and their work. And so being in a space that feels good, it's great that it's in alignment to the brand, but just being in a space, generally speaking, that feels good and you feel creatively inspired and it feels warm and it feels, it's interesting or, whatever.
Yes.
I think it makes a big difference for people. So I think that's also, there's a lot of value in that within itself.
And I have to praise you, because you came out the bat and you were like, no two spaces will be the same. And in corporate design, the standard corporate design, I should say, is every conference room looks the same. Every bathroom looks the same. Every elevator lobby looks the same. But you were all about the experience. We want it to be very experiential. We want every single room and every single angle to be unique and different. And without you pushing that, I mean, that's like unheard of, because most people are just like, we just want to approve, 4 different layouts and get it going. But you and Boot Barn, I think as a whole, you guys value creativity more than any other company I've ever seen. Like a lot of, you think, oh, big corporate company, publicly traded, you think, oh, they must just value the bottom line and
Yeah.
the numbers and the metrics. But you guys so wholeheartedly value the creative and the experience. And I think that's so unique.
I'm very blessed. So it all comes from the leadership from the executive team. I I don't think I could do what I do in a typical corporate environment.
Oh, yeah.
There's always like people always talk about like all the red tape and you have to like jump through hoops to get things approved and nobody wants to take chances and or risks, and I'm a big risk taker. Like
Yeah.
I like change.
Mm-hmm.
I want to push boundaries. I want to honor what is, authentic. I'm passionate about uplifting people, the Western community, highlighting real stories. Like all of that is true. But I also, while staying intentionally authentic to this, I also want to continue to push and open up the aperture of who we can welcome into this community. And, so that's just my natural energy, my natural disposition. And I think if I were in a different environment that wasn't conducive to that, I wouldn't last. So I think that all kind of comes from the leadership. I think people are genuinely open-minded
Yeah,
here, which is really great,
for sure.
and open to change, and they value creativity because
Yeah.
I think what I think gets overlooked sometimes is that people's interpretation of your brand
Mm,
and of your business is how they see it, what it feels like, what it sounds like, and that's what matters. The
yeah.
back end things of just, hitting numbers and
Yes.
margin dollars and all those things, the customer never experiences that. That doesn't matter. So when you're coming from a business that's about customers first,
Yeah.
there's a shift there.
Yeah, because the back end stuff doesn't sway whether or not they're going to purchase your product.
Right.
The experience, like you were talking about, really affects whether they're going to purchase that product.
Right, right. And I think another thing that the leadership has put in place is I don't care if you purchase that product.
Mm.
I care that you grow an affinity to the brand and I'm
Mm.
gaining your loyalty and your trust. I
Yes.
care about that.
Yes.
So to me, that's more important. And when you're able to reframe that, you don't feel the pressure to be like, and this shirt is now $29.99. It's down $5. And you can get it in bulk and buy one of these boots and get 17 pairs free. Like
Free.
you don't feel that pressure. And
No.
you don't have to push product, you don't have to push promotions. You can literally just focus on what here is the rich narrative we want to tap into. How
Mm.
are we driving an affinity towards the brand? And that's where the magic is.
Love. So smart. Very good. Okay. So we are over on time. Surprise. I have a flight to catch. So we're going to wrap this up. I think you answered like all my questions before I even got to them. I feel like we were in sync. I love
Per
that.
usual.
Oh, per usual. Okay, let's wrap this up with the final question of the day.
Okay.
If you could fast forward 10, 20, 30 years, what do you hope your creative legacy is?
My creative legacy.
Yeah.
Ooh, good question. Um, I don't know if I care about my legacy.
Mm.
I care that every person I interacted with, whether it was in real life
Mm-hmm.
or someone listening to this podcast or some other digital format in which we communicate with one another,
Yeah.
I care that people feel empowered and they feel like they can do anything. And so I think my creative legacy, if you will, like I think the entry into my world might be a hook through
Mm.
creativity, but I think the message I actually want people to feel is that they are truly unstoppable, and the only thing that's going to get in their way in their life is their own limitations,
Yeah.
their own limiting mindset. So if you just shift your mindset
Mm-hmm.
and you know that there's people like me who want to support you and rally in your corner and cheerlead for you, and there's a whole community of people like that,
Yeah.
like you could truly do anything.
Yeah. Such great advice. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for everyone who's listening. Please tell the people where they can find you if they're not following you already.
Well, I don't really have many followers, but you can, yeah, follow along.
Yeah, she posts amazing behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a fun gig. But yeah,
Yeah.
Isha_Nicole.
On Instagram.
On Instagram. Or you
Yes.
could follow Boot Barn or Wonder West or any of the above. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Isha. I'm Isha.
And that was Isha.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. And we can't wait to share this video with you guys.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Details Podcast by The Heartland. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow along on Instagram @TheDetailsPod. Subscribe on YouTube and leave us a review. Turn on your notifications to hear new episodes every Monday. See you next week. Bye.